Okay, we're going to call the number 15 meeting, the Village Board of Trustees, the Village of Depew, October 23, 2023 at 7:03. Pledge of Allegiance, Trustee Kraft.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a second. God of justice and mercy, thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of our village. Help us to act with character and conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill. Help us to speak with charity and restraint. Give us a spirit of service. Remind us that we are stewards of your authority. Guide us to be the leaders your people need. Help us to see the humanity and dignity of those who disagree with us, and to treat all persons, no matter how weak or poor, with the reverence your creation deserves. And finally, Father, renew us with the strength of your presence and with the joy of helping to build a community worthy of your human person. We ask this as sons and daughters, confident in your goodness and love. Amen. All right. Notification of fire exits, Trustee Simba.
Emergency exits are located to my left and to the rear of the building, rear of the room, excuse me. In the event of an alarm or emergency, please move in an orderly fashion to the exits and evacuate the building.
Need a roll call, please?
Trustee Hammernick. Trustee Zimba.
Here.
Trustee Kraft.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Adolph.
Here.
And Mayor Peterson.
Here. First item of business is approved village board meeting minutes from the October 10th, 2023 meeting.
Honorable Mayor and Board of Trustees, I make the following motion and move for its adoption to approve the village board meeting minutes for October 10th, 2023.
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Next up is approve the zoning board meeting minutes from the August 24th, 2023 meeting. Please read them and vote individually.
Honorable Mayor and Board of Trustees, I make a motion to approve the zoning board meeting minutes, August 24th, 2023, number 1, MDZ period Ahmad for the property located at 8 Beverly Drive, Depew, New York, 14043 of Chapter 260, ampersand 260-31, parentheses F, parentheses 4, to be allowed to put a fence in the required front yard property line on a residential corner lot, requesting relief of the 21-foot setback. Granted.
I second that.
Need a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Zimba.
Yes.
Trustee Kraft.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Adolph.
Yes.
And Mayor Peterson.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Zoning board meeting minutes number 2, Brian Sylvia, for the property located at 70 Harvard Avenue, Depew, New York, 14043, of Chapter 260, ampersand 260-23, parentheses B, parentheses 2, to be allowed to build a shed within the required 5-foot setback. Granted.
I second that.
Roll call vote, please?
Trustee Zimba.
Yes.
Trustee Kraft.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Adolph.
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes.
And that's granted.
Zoning board meeting minutes number 3, Jason Becker for the property located at 580 Rowley Road, Depew, New York, 14043. A, Chapter 260, ampersand 260-14, parentheses B, parentheses 1, parentheses E, parentheses 1, to allow them to install an AC unit within 5 feet of any lot line withdrawn. B, Chapter 260, ampersand 260-24, parentheses A, parentheses 2, to allow the build of a 14-foot by 20-foot addition to be built within 2 feet of property line. Granted.
I second that.
Need a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Zimba.
Yes.
Trustee Kraft.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Adolph.
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Zoning board meeting minutes number 4,
I second that.
Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zimba.
Yes.
Trustee Kraft.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Adolph.
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Okay, tonight what I'll do is I'll go through all of the agenda items, give you a brief description, and you'll be able to comment in the initial part before we get started on any of the agenda items only. Later in the meeting, there'll be a spot for general public concerns and other business. In each case, you'll be limited to 5 minutes of speaking time. First item up tonight is a public hearing on local law number 4 of 2023 to discuss the implementation of electric bicycle and scooter law. That'll be the first thing. So if you have something to speak on that, wait until we open up the public hearing. Next item is up permission for Depew Police Department. Permissions hereby granted to Lieutenant Menard to attend an IACP Women's Leadership Institute New York Women in Law Enforcement Conference in November. Resolution number 3 is approve longevity payments for non-union employees that have been with the village in excess of 5 years. Next item up is permission to waive a permit fee for the Depew High School Musical Department, asking for a signed permit fees to be waived for their November 11th, 2023, and April 13th, 2024 craft shows. Next up is allow the mayor to sign community development block grant agreements. First on the Cheektowaga side, which will include sidewalk replacements and senior center expenses for the upcoming year. That's as we've talked about in the past, we're eligible for $100,000 through HUD, distributed through the town of Cheektowaga, and that's what we're going to use that money for. Next item up is have the mayor sign the community development block grant money agreement for 2023 on the town of Lancaster side. Town of Lancaster side is some additional sidewalk replacements in the Terrace Road, Easton, up to Meridian, I believe, just past the Boys and Girls Club. This is the $150,000 that's allocated as a grant opportunity on the town of Lancaster side through the Erie County Consortium. Next up is appointing rec department seasonal employments. These are rink guards and cashiers. We have a change of board meeting dates for November 27th. It's changing to November 28th. Our annual tree lighting ceremony in the village is being done on the Monday the 27th. And that the next meeting in 2 meetings after that in December, we will not be meeting on Christmas Day. Next item up is to consider a resolution for the Climate Smart Community Pledge. We had Jason Kulishevsky today from UBRI. We are with the project in the pavilion with the geothermal heating. That's our 4th action item, and it qualifies us for a $5,000 grant. And we're going to be looking to begin journey on the State Climate Smart Communities Pledge. This is the first step today. It'll be a committee of myself, Andrew, and Audrey, and then we will open it up to key stakeholders in the village who would have some interest in determining where we go with climate smart community. Next item up is for permission for the fire department. I guess who let the dogs out? Permission is granted to Engine 1 to go into Tonawanda, the town of Tonawanda, for a training pump operations course November 7th, and also to participate the Northside Fire Station on Sunday, November 5th, 2023, from 10 to 4 for interior firefighter operations graduation ceremony. Our chief is out in a fire, but I'd ask him how many people there are. It's a couple. So if you have anything that you'd like to talk about on those items I just read off, come to the microphone, state your name and address, and we'll do our best to answer the question. Okay. Going once, going twice. That's why I like to explain what they are. You have something on that?
Yeah, I just got a quick question. Maybe you could just read off what the electric bike statute is that's going into effect. Could you read off what it is?
Do we have a copy of it? Several copies.
There's copies out on that there as well.
I thought of one. Okay,
Well, hang on one second. Are
Yeah.
you all set? You have any?
Yeah, I just want to read it.
Okay.
Any questions out?
not a problem.
Awesome, thanks.
Dave Burkhardt, 5 Lee. This number 8 and 9, this climate pledge. You said we're going to get a check for $5,000? And what do we have to do for that as far as this?
The things that I've done we've done since 2019, is all the street lights were changed out to LEDs. The stick lights in the neighborhoods were changed to LEDs. Code enforcement took a training course that was a part of that. That was 1, 2, 3. What's that?
The geothermal.
And the geothermal, which Jason came in and examined tonight at the new building, that was worth another 700 points. Totals 1,800, and that gets us our 4 items, which initiates a $5,000 grant.
Okay. All right.
Next level is 3,000 points, and that will be another $15,000 grant.
I mean, and we're going to continue along this way? It's,
We're trying to do things that are eco-friendly, that also save the village some money.
I like that idea. Okay. As long as it saves the village money. Okay.
That's the name of the game, Dave.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Sir, do you have any?
No, that's pretty standard.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to item number 1, the public hearing on local law number 4, electric bicycle and scooter law.
I move that we open the public hearing on local law number 4 regarding electric bicycle and scooter law at 7:16 PM.
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried. Regina?
County of Erie, notice of public hearing. The administrator is authorized to advertise a public hearing for local law number 4 of 2023 to discuss the implementation of the electric bicycle and scooter law. The public hearing will take place on October 23rd, 2023 in the Depew Village Hall, Council Chambers, 85 Manitow Street, Depew, New York, 14043 at 7 p.m.
Sims, this is your creation. Do you want to at least lead off a little bit?
Sure. There have been an abundance of new electric scooters going around 20 miles an hour around the village. There were some complaints received about those scooters and other things riding on the sidewalks, knocking pedestrians out of the way, and there was no real enforcement mechanism in the village code to allow officers to write tickets or to regulate the safest place for these vehicles to go. So that's all this tries to accomplish, tracing what New York state law says the village is allowed to do to regulate this.
So the public hearing is now open. If anybody has any comments or concerns or suggestions, step to the microphone.
What does the police department suggest we do with these things?
The recommendations from the chief were given to the village attorney.
They got a lot to do with guiding staff.
Basically, permit them to ride in bicycle lanes in the street, not permit them on sidewalks.
Okay. That would be acceptable to me. I mean, I think that's a good idea. They shouldn't be on the sidewalks.
Right. Exactly, Dave. I mean, that's one of the things that spurred us looking into this was
Right.
people who are walking their dogs or kids and
Exactly.
a bicyclist comes up and zips by. The other thing too is a safety issue, and that's really what this is to do.
Do these people that are riding these things, do they have to wear helmets, this other safety gear or anything?
Yes, that's in the law.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Good question.
Welcome.
I do have an online
Okay, right.
question from Therese Chapman. We have quite a few seniors that are concerned about not being able to use their scooters. So we're not targeting,
This doesn't cover electric scooters. This is a very specific definition that's in the vehicle and traffic law for these electric bicycles, the one-wheeled scooters.
Moped or something, right?
Yeah, essentially. It's different than electric scooters
Different than electric.
seniors use.
an electric safety scooter.
Okay, anyone else? Oh, I don't know, anybody else? Paul?
So you're saying this law doesn't cover like handicap scooters? Because I see it in here, it writes that you can't carry packages, but like somebody going from the senior center with coming back with a package from Tops, that's not gonna affect them?
No, it wouldn't cover handicap scooters. At least that's not the goal. This is the public hearing, so I'm going to take a closer look at that. But that was not the idea.
I think that's,
Some of the older people coming from like the retirement homes going to Tops, I mean,
Right.
just briefly read this, talking about no packages being carried on a scooter is one of them, so I'm sure the older people would have a concern about that.
right. Therese was our senior center director, so a lot of them have scooters. They come to Village Hall for Wednesday and Friday.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll
that's-
tweak the law to make it explicit that this doesn't cover senior citizen scooters.
Great point. Thank you very much.
I'd rather see them on the sidewalk too.
Yeah.
Paul Sprata, 58 Argus Drive. On the same subject, I was not in the village, but in the town of Lancaster on William Street, talking about like electric wheelchairs or motorized wheelchairs. I saw two of them about a month ago coming up William Street, going west, where there's no shoulder, and they were in the road. And that's a two-lane highway, one lane in each direction. And I was just hoping and praying that William Street carries a lot of traffic, east-west traffic. And I was surprised, and I stopped to talk to a friend there, and he was saying, oh yeah, that's the old people going to Walmart to do shopping. He says they'll do this a couple times a month. It just seems like an unsafe area for them to do that. Seeing that there's no shoulder, I mean, the shoulder is dropped down quite a bit. Anyhow, getting back to our thing here and electric bicycles, doesn't our police department have regular bicycles?
We do,
Are they considering getting electric bicycles?
to my knowledge, no.
No, okay, and we don't have motorcycles in the police department
We do
anymore,
not,
right?
no.
Okay, just want to make sure of that. As far as safety goes, they're required to have a tail light and a headlight?
Yes.
And the helmet?
Yes.
Okay, and they have to be a blinking tail light?
I don't have that section memorized in the GMT.
It's in the law, I think so.
A
It's written in
blinking?
there.
I'll double check, but we had a whole section about the lights on the motorized scooters or electric bicycles.
Yeah, bicycles and scooters, my concern too. Okay. I think that's all that I've got right now on that. Oh, the speed limit here in that information sheet, it says that they can go up to 20 miles an hour. Well, they've changed that. I think it's a New York State law. They can go up to 28 miles an hour now. Well, if they got some kind of governor system on there. Now,
But those that are in excess of 25 miles per hour are already prohibited in certain degrees. Isn't that what this one says, Sam?
It is, I'll double check. It's possible the law changed in the 2-3 weeks since we wrote this.
yeah,
I'll double check the speed limits. We're trying to mirror what New York State defined these electric bicycles as, and I think it was
Jay?
25 miles per hour for electric scooters. So I'll double check.
all right.
Whatever New York State has in their definition of electric scooters and bicycles is what we want to have in the local law.
Okay. And the only other municipality in this area that has any laws for this is Alden, am I correct?
They did pass that, yes,
And that-
recently.
And
Yes.
it's not a very strong regulations that they have, from what I understand.
There were a lot of problems I found with the Alden law.
Okay. All right, I think that's all I've got for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Anyone else on the public hearing?
Can't regular bikes go faster than 20 miles an hour though?
Please step up and,
Couldn't regular bikes go faster than 20 miles an hour? I mean, can't you get in an arbitrary argument and who's going, like if a bike goes faster than 20, what are you gonna do about a bike going faster than 20?
No.
No, I don't have the answer to that. That's a good point. I'll look into it.
And just plain devil's advocate.
They can go quicker than that,
I mean, they can, that's what I'm saying.
you're pushing it.
No, I mean, I understand most people won't, but if someone can get a bike faster than that,
You have to be downhill and with the wind at your back.
Hey, I can run faster than 20 miles.
And young.
all right, one last time, anything on the public hearing? Okay, we need a motion to close.
I move that we close the public hearing on electric bicycle and scooter law at 7:25 PM.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Resolution number 2, permission for the Depew Police Department to attend New York Women in Law Enforcement Conference.
Honorable Mayor and Board of Trustees, I make the following resolution. I move for its adoption. Permission is hereby granted to Lieutenant Menard, who is a scholarship recipient, to attend the IACP Women's Leadership Institute New York Women in Law Enforcement Conference, being held in Saratoga Springs, October 30th through November 3rd, is that right on the year? 2020? I think that year might be wrong. 2023. The conference is a leadership training program for female leaders. Use of a village vehicle is permitted.
So let's just note the Scribner's error in the resolution. It should be 2023, not 2024.
Correct.
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Resolution 3, approve longevity payments.
Honorable Mayor and Board of Trustees, I make the following motion and move for its adoption. Whereas the employee handbook requires longevity payments to non-union personnel to be approved by the village board. Be it resolved, longevity payments as per the current budget for the 2022-2023 be approved for the following. Melissa Dobb, $1,050, 0 cents. Bill Kerr, $1,525.00. Tim Norick, $1,450.00. Jerry Miller, $1,525.00. Ken Pick, $1,975.00. These payments will be made to the employees, the first payroll after this resolution is passed.
I second the motion.
The roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zimba?
Yes.
Trustee Kraft?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Adolph?
Yes.
Mayor Peterson?
Yes.
And that's carried.
Resolution 4, permission to waive a permit fee.
Honorable Mayor and Board of Trustees, I make the following motion and move for its adoption. Whereas the Depew High School Music Department is asking for the sign permit fees to be waived for their November 11th, 2023 and April 13th, 2024 craft shows. A sign will be placed in front of the high school by Transit Road to advertise the craft shows. Now therefore be it resolved that permission is hereby granted to the Depew High School Music Department to waive the permit fees for the sign advertising for the craft shows.
I second the motion.
Need a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Zimba,
Yes.
Trustee Kraft,
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Adolph,
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Resolution 5, authorize the mayor to sign a community development block grant subrecipient agreement for 2023.
Honorable Mayor and Board of Trustees, I make the following resolution and move for adoption. Be it resolved that Mayor Kevin Peterson is authorized to sign, submit, and execute a contract with the Community Development Block Grant for the following projects upon approval of the ECC DBG project ranked sidewalk replacement and senior center expenses in the village of Depew, town of Cheektowaga.
I second the motion.
Roll call vote, please?
Trustee Zimba,
Yes.
Trustee Kraft,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Adolph,
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Resolution 6, authorize the mayor to sign a community development block grant subrecipient agreement for 2023 on the Lancaster side.
Honorable Mayor and Board of Trustees, I make the following motion and move for its adoption. Be it resolved that Mayor Kevin Peterson is authorized to sign, submit, and execute a contract with the Community Development Block Grant for Erie County for the following projects upon approval of the ECC DBG project ranked sidewalk replacement in the village of Depew, town of Lancaster.
I second the motion.
Need a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Zimba,
Yes.
Trustee Kraft,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Adolph,
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Resolution 7, appoint recreational seasonal workers pursuant to Section 4-400 of Village Law. I, Mayor Kevin Peterson, do hereby appoint the following for winter employment to the Recreation Department. These are all rink guards and cashiers. Kira Kwiatkowski, Melissa Green, John Rosenberg, David Reggie, and Braden Pollock. And these are cashiers: Madison Massaro, Alexandra Krastiva, Mackenzie Chapman, Ava Carlon, and Michaela Romano. Need a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Zimba,
Yes.
Trustee Kraft,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Adolph,
Yes.
Mayor Peterson.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Resolution 8, changing of board meeting dates.
Honorable Mayor and Board of Trustees, I make the following motion and move for its adoption. Be it resolved, due to the annual tree lighting ceremony, the village board meeting will be Tuesday, November 28th, 2023, instead of Monday, November 27th, 2023. And be it resolved, due to the Christmas holiday, the second village board meeting in December will be canceled.
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Resolution 9, resolution for the Climate Smart Community Pledge.
Honorable Mayor and Board of Trustees, I make the following motion and move for its adoption. Whereas the village of Depew, here in the local government, believes that climate change poses a real and increasing threat to our local and global environments and is primarily due to the burning of fossil fuels. And whereas the effects of climate change will endanger our infrastructure, economy, and livelihoods, harm our farms, orchards, and ecological communities, including native fish and wildlife populations, spread invasive species and exotic diseases, risk drinking water supplies and recreational opportunities, and pose health threats to our citizens. And whereas we believe that our response to climate change provides us with an unprecedented opportunity to save money and to build livable, energy-dependent, and secure communities, vibrant innovation economies, healthy and safe schools, and resilient infrastructures. And whereas we believe that the scale of the greenhouse gas GHG emissions reductions required for climate stabilization will require sustained and sustainable efforts. And whereas we believe that even if emissions were dramatically reduced today, communities would still be required to adapt to the effects of climate change for decades to come. It is hereby resolved that the Village of Depew, in order to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to the climate change, adopts the New York State Climate Smart Communities Pledge, which comprises the following 10 elements. It comprises of the following 10 elements. 1. Build a climate smart community. 2. Inventory emissions, set goals, and plan for climate action. 3. Decrease energy use. 4. Shift to clean, renewable energy. 5. Use climate smart materials management. 6. Implement climate smart land use. 7. Enhance communities' resilience to climate change. 8. Support a green innovation economy. 9. Inform and inspire the public. And 10. Engage in an evolving process of climate action.
I second the motion.
Need a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Zimba,
Aye.
Trustee Kraft,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Adolph,
Yes.
and Mayor Peterson.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Mayor, I think you should touch on at this time a little bit of what the pledge you just took is.
Yeah, I think I shared in the beginning with the one program that's gotten us that $5,000 grant. The next portion of it involves actually many of the same items that we got credit for in the other program. They're monitored by two different groups. I'm not saying that we're going to go nuts on adopting everything that has to do with solar and wind, but there are things that we could do as a village, as we've been doing, that not only save the village money, but are reasonably calculated things that help reduce the gas emissions and so forth. Like we talked about, geothermal in the new building out there. We supported the solar farm that's on Broadway that people can buy into as well. Hang on. Okay. So we're going to put together, Andrew, myself, and Trustee Emmerich, when she's back, will be the board's representation on that. We are going to put it out there for members or stakeholders in the village that would be interested in helping, very much like we had for the task force for taxes back in 2017, 2018, like we have for our tree board, which is made up of residents as well. We'll look to do the same and look for people that have an interest in seeing this through, and people such as perhaps the owner of the company that developed the solar farm might have add some to it. So that's what we're looking to do. Question day.
Yeah, as long as we're not spending an inordinate amount of money to buy something that's a little more energy efficient than what we have out there already. We're not doing that, right?
No, I think the importance of the pledge is we've been doing a lot of great things as a village already before taking this pledge, like the solar farm or the geothermal for the new pavilion. So by taking this, it's a point system, so it allows us to enter to get credit for what we're doing so that we get better grant ratings and that we can receive actual grants like the 5,000 for just taking this pledge and achieving those point totals.
So
I was thinking though, you could get a furnace for like $1,000, but if you want the energy efficient furnace, you gotta pay $4,000, let's say, just throwing it out there. I mean, it's still, I would still rather see the $1,000 furnace versus like the $4,000 or $5,000 furnace. And I'm just throwing numbers out there.
In the long run, it typically saves you money, though.
Well, if it saves on the utility bills and it's not that much extra, I could see doing it, but.
Yeah, we're being smart about this, right? We're doing this for the taxpayer. We're doing this for the village, long term and short term. We see both. And so like with the geothermal, we received a grant for that So actually putting that in was actually more cost-effective than going the other route
with natural gas.
with natural gas. So we saved on the front end, we're going to save on the back end, short and long term, so
And we got a grant for that?
we got a grant for it, yeah.
And this,
Yeah,
Not
I'm just
for the
not a believer
geothermal.
of the climate change.
geothermal, we've been getting back that money.
That's fine, but you're a believer in saving money?
Let's just, yeah, let's,
There you go.
let's just clarify the terms there. So with the geothermal, if you recall, back in mid-December, I believe, is when, maybe it was January, when we had the public hearing on doing it, and then we put it out for bid. I'm using rough numbers here, just so bear with me. The cost of doing natural gas to the building was 50 grand. The cost to do the geothermal system was $90,000. However, there's 3 or 4 other components that when you get that back-end money from the state, it brings that cost down to what we would have paid for natural gas. Okay? So, and then going forward, that building is heated by itself, basically, through the tubes underneath the part of the park there. And it also air conditions the building. So initially, yes, we did put up money, but we expect 40 grand or thereabouts to come back. But it's not like we applied for a grant for it. It's money that, because we did it, the state recognizes it and reimburses you money towards it.
But where does the state get their money from? Oh, sorry. So you're saying the state's going to reimburse you. Where does the state get their money from?
Where do you think they do?
The taxpayers.
That's right.
So there's still an additional cost on the taxpayers. You're just cooking the books, so it's coming from a state agency, not local taxpayers. So taxpayers in other other areas are liable to front this cost, the burden. So you're still spending more, just other taxpayers and other people, other places are fronting the costs that are bared, and you guys are keeping the cost the same.
You can look at it that way. I'll
Why?
tell you my thinking on grants.
Mm-hmm.
We could sit back and not touch any grants, but somebody else is going to get them. So these taxpayers in this village pay for that. So you might as well go get what you can get.
That's at the state level, so.
We didn't get your name and address.
I'm Dwayne. I'm a resident of Erie County. Another suggestion with the climate stuff, have you guys thought about making it easier for people to drive vehicles that are more energy efficient, like electric scooters? It seems kind of contradictory. You're saying climate change is an issue and you want to cut back on greenhouse gases. Well, why not make it easier for people with electric scooters, which give out less greenhouse gas? They're ulterior powered vehicles. It seems kind of contradictory to make it harder for them to operate in the village, yet saying that climate change is an issue and you want to solve the problems of climate change.
I don't think we're making it harder for them to operate it. We're just creating standard regulations like someone would for a car, right? Electric cars have regulations same as the gas ones, right? We just want to protect those that are on the sidewalks walking their kids or their dogs. We've had a few incidences in the village and we just want to make sure that there's something on the books so everyone can
Makes
follow.
sense. All
Yeah.
right. Thanks, guys.
Where were we?
Resolution number 10.
Honorable Mayor and Board of Trustees, I make the following motion and move for its adoption. Permission is hereby granted to take Engine 1 on Tuesday, November 7th, 2023, from 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. at a pump operations course in Tonawanda, New York. And permission is hereby granted to use the North Side Fire Station on Sunday, November 5th, 2023, from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. for an IFO graduation ceremony.
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried. Item number 11, employment applications were received at the Rec Department from Mackenzie Chapman, Alexandra Kristeva, Kira Kwiatkowski, Braden Pollock, David Raggi, John Rosenberg, Madison Massaro, and Michaela Romano. Number 12, department head reports, September from Building Department and the Police Department.
Honorable Mayor and Board of Trustees, I make a motion that we accept the department head reports for September 2023 for police and building departments.
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. There's no unfinished and other business. Before we open the floor to public comments and concerns, we'll go around the room to the department heads. Our building department with Kate and Don.
Yeah, so obviously we got another stretch of nice weather here. It's usually unpredicted, but maybe people out there, your grass is still growing and stuff. I know it's the end of the season, but try to keep your grass cut and get your leaves out so they can vacuum them up. Don't put them in the street, put them at the curb. Still the same problem with unregistered vehicles. If you've got unregistered vehicles, please have them removed or put them inside where they're out of public view.
Okay, and go to the table. RJ from OEM.
Nothing to report.
Kevin from Rec.
As the weather's going to be good all week long, I've met with the guys today. I went to all the satellite parks, and they're going through them starting tomorrow. They're going to make sure that all the garbages are empty and everything's mowed and stuff like that, because it's a good last week, and they were pretty crowded today. There's at least 20 kids at each one of those little parks.
Okay.
So that's all I got.
Ice is going strong.
As long as the Bills lose. I'll sell ice on Sundays then.
Chief Gothier from our fire department.
All right, the only thing I got is next Sunday, the 29th, the fire department will be doing their first annual trick or treat at Fireman's Park. Erie Street will be closed going northbound from Gould to Terrace. And all of our fire trucks will be lined up on Erie Street on the park side, and we'll be giving away trick or treats to the kids. And also the new pavilion will be open to have cider and donuts. So feel free to come on by, see the fire department, and there should be plenty enough parking in the parking lot on Erie Street.
It's from 1 to 4.
Yeah, 1 to 4 p.m.
And can you, since Kenny's not here from DPW, can you send him an email what you need for,
Yeah, I already sent them an email.
Okay,
Yep,
great.
Yep.
pretty much what we used a week ago, I
Yeah.
think.
Oh, and then our fire calls for apologize. We had a fire call and I was a little behind. So fire calls for October, we're at 20 now instead of 19, and 300, it'll be 317 year to date.
Okay. Sam from legal.
Not much from me. I appreciate all the comments on the local law. That's why we have a public hearing, so we can make sure we get input from the community. I appreciate the discussion tonight.
Chief, I'm sorry, Captain Kirk.
I have nothing further to report, Mr. Mayor.
All right. We did have one question online for our fire chief.
Yes, it may be something from Trustee Hammernick when she gets back, but there was an inquiry if you guys were going to do the Adopt a Hydrant program again with the high school.
Yeah, sure, or RSO Hospital, they can contact me. We'll work that out again, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Trustee Zimba.
The village held its annual e-waste drive this past Saturday at Village Hall parking lot. We did better this year than we did last year, and I'm hoping it continues to grow. And we had some traffic concerns early on, but we got through it.
More than a full truck they took today.
Yeah, they had to empty it and come back.
Good stuff.
It was. On the other side, Trustee Kraft,
I have nothing to do.
Deputy Mayor,
Just we're working on our application again to get renewed for Tree USA. We're currently in year 3, so hopefully we'll get that application in and be 4 years Tree City USA through the Arbor Day Foundation. So.
very good.
Fall Fest.
Fall Fest, sure, you can talk about Fall Fest.
We just wanted to thank everybody that came out to our Fall Fest that was held on the 14th. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't our friend, like it was in prior years, but I think everybody that came out really did enjoy it. All of our vendors had a really good day. They really are excited to come back and participate in other village events. Even though it rained, the kids were in the bounce houses all day, and it was a great way to show off the new pavilion and really let people see what we've been talking about all of this time. We did have applications available. They are out now. If people have any questions about renting the pavilion, they can give us a call in the clerk's office and we can walk them through the process. And I just wanted to thank all of our departments for working together to pull off the event and get the pavilion ready. It really does take a village and everybody works so well together. It's really great to see the community that we have here.
Okay, time for public comments and concerns. Somebody has something, feel free to step to the podium, and we'll talk about anything you'd like.
My name is Dan, Erie County, and I'm residency is Erie County. And I'd like to open up by saying I appreciate your speech opening up with a prayer. And I hope that what I have to say to you here hits home with that as well. But I recently was approached by someone that came through Lancaster that was arrested by the Lancaster Police Department for swearing in public. And he came to me and told me about it, and I never really like to just take somebody's word for it, so I did the research and I did my investigation on this, and I pulled the body camera footage of one Lieutenant Keeb, and what I found was pretty disgusting behavior of the Depew Police Department. Keeb is a supervisor for the police department, a lieutenant, and all I seen out of him was escalation, antagonizing, and acted like a big child bully. All right? Now, if we're going to have a police department in this day and age, that we need to do it with a little more respect and a little more integrity, because you know, all these things going around with defund the police and all that nobody really wants to hear that. We all want to love the police, we all want to be able to call the police, we all want to respect the police. But the behavior I seen out of Lieutenant Keeb that day was absolutely out of hand. I seen police cover up, I seen bullying, I seen lying, and second, most of all, I seen violations of the First Amendment of this man's freedom of speech. Lieutenant Keeb escalated this man to the point where he said, you know, some chosen swear words like the word fuck, and he eventually arrested him under a disorderly conduct charge, which, you know, Lieutenant Keeb can't be a complainant in a disorderly conduct. He fabricated that there was people in the parking lot. I'm viewing the body camera footage and all the footage that I seen that day, there was nobody around. Now, behavior like this out of a supervisor, nonetheless, is absolutely, absolutely appalling. Now, if we can expect that out of a supervisor, what do we expect out of a patrolman? And I published a video about it, and I put it on the internet, and people redressed their grievances to their government. Now, I heard there was, you know, complaints. I heard there was even threats of violence, which I never condone threats of violence. But when you rile up the people like that, I understand that they do that as much as I wish they wouldn't, because it kind of goes against the cause and the respect for the cause. But I noticed that the Depew Police Department has deleted their Facebook over this. And I think that the Depew deserves to give at least some type of public comment to the public about the behavior that happened that day, because any logical person watching this video or watching the actual just raw body cameras can clearly see that the Depew Police Department was out of hand, especially Lieutenant Keeb. I'll also like to state that this isn't blown over yet, because a member of the local news, one of the large news TV stations, recently contacted me for dates and times, and they're going to do a little investigation, so I think it's going to hit the mainstream as well. Now, like I said, nobody wants to hear defund the police. But when we see something of this magnitude where a lieutenant, you know, the supervisor, someone that the police in there are supposed to be looking up to, escalates something like that and bullies somebody, you know, I mean, next step is to disband the police department here and turn it over to the Erie County Sheriffs or make a deal with the Lancaster Police. If we can't get this police department under hand and, expect better out of our supervisors of the police department, we're in real trouble. And this day and age, when all this stuff is going on with a lot of hatred to the police, I'm telling you guys, you don't have the ability to do anything like that magnitude. You guys need to do your job with respect to earn the respect back to the blue line. A lot of people are not appreciating the blue line lately, and this is just one more incident on the books that this town and this supervisor of a police department, Lieutenant Keebs, put a black eye on the Depew Police Department. And I think that a public statement from the police department is probably in order, or at least a statement about the incident. I mean, I don't know if you guys all seen the incident or seen the video, but I think that the town should definitely make a public comment about it, whether it's tonight or whether it's in the future. But like I said, it's not quite over. The mainstream media did pick up on it, and I'm not going to say which one, but his comment is, "What the heck did I just watch?" Why would somebody want to help the police after seeing something like this? All right. Now, disorderly conduct in itself is a slippery slope when you start talking about free speech. I mean, how far do we want to limit speech in public and start charging people with disorderly conduct? And then on top of it, I've seen a retaliation charge of after the fact. It seemed a little ridiculous, and I'm sure the captain over here knows exactly what I'm talking about. But I think the police department owes the public a statement about that whole incident, and I'll be looking forward to that. And just one last thing here. As a constitutionalist, I audit the government on constitutionality. Your guidelines for the public meeting says speakers must give their name and address for organizations, if any. The word must got to go if you want this guidelines to have integrity, because everybody has a Fourth Amendment right. They do not have to state their full name or address to speak at a public meeting. So maybe just a suggestion for you guys to change your meetings minutes to speakers are encouraged to give their name and address, or asked to, not must, because if I know I'm not entitled to it and I not must have to give it, everything else here says must or may not is kind of like, do we have to follow the rules in that, because we don't know. Let's catch things up to the Constitution and remember to all be Americans around here. And that's all I have to say.
Dan, I want to thank you, though. You've been a visitor to our village hall for a number of years, and I appreciate the A+ you gave us the way we handled your foil.
Yeah, so it proves that you know that you've seen it, and I have other departments like Lancaster is a nightmare to get foil out of. So I mean, I'm not a police hater. I'm not a government hater. When an agency does something great, I can give them the credit. My platform is a platform. You can shine or you can shit on it. So just keep that in mind. And when I'm asking for a public comment on whatever it is, whether we're sending Keeb to what do you call it? De-escalation training or something, or some type of reprimation, because I think something's in order, because what I seen there today on that date, and like I said, this guy came to me, told me what happened, and I wasn't going to just go with what the guy said. I pulled the body camera footage. I seen what happened. I went through it step by step and showed you what I seen. So I would appreciate something from the Depew Police Department or from the board about the whole incident. And like I said, I think the town and all of Erie County, or anybody that travels through this area, deserves an explanation of what happened that day, because I thought it was pretty raw.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Good evening, all. I'm Steve, Erie County. I'm also a resident of Erie County. And I'm on here tonight because I drive through Depew quite a bit. I'm in the area a lot. I'm a fan of my colleague's YouTube channel, watches audits quite a bit. And whenever I see a situation like what occurred with Officer Keeb here occur, I like to take a look into court records, see what's going on with the offending agency. And I'm here tonight because I want to point out that what happened with Officer Keeb, it's not an outlier, it's a trend. There's a false arrest and malicious prosecution case that's live right now with this department. And I briefly want to go through this to illustrate my point. Forgive me, I'll try to be as brief as I can, but I want to get all the facts correct.
Yeah, remember, you're at 5 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, so this issue arises from the unlawful arrest of a Depew resident. Her name is Amanda Zeiss, I believe it's pronounced, Z-E-I, SZ on July 29, 2022, when Ms. Zeiss was arrested at her home in the presence of her mother. That's the petitioner for this particular action, Wendy Henley, and also in front of petitioner Zeiss's very young children by Depew Police Officer Robert C. Utz, it's spelled U-T-Z, and Depew Police Lieutenant Todd Pike, P-Y-C. Respondents Utz and Pike did not have probable cause to arrest petitioner Zeiss, who had summoned the police to her home seeking their assistance in responding to an unlawful attempt to repossess her vehicle. Instead of assisting petitioner Zeiss, respondents Utz and Pike assisted the persons attempting to unlawfully repossess petitioner Zeiss's vehicle from private property, specifically the driveway of petitioner Henley. On July 29, 2022, officers Utz and Pike filed police reports, complaints, and a criminal charge against petitioner Zeiss. Petitioner Henley filed a written complaint with respondent Depew Police Department on the same date. And what this arises from, the criminal charges against petitioner Zeiss were dismissed on the basis of facial insufficiency under the New York State Criminal Procedure Law. So essentially, she was arrested for an unlawful reason. The vehicle in question was the subject of a purchase agreement between petitioner Zeiss and Honda, pursuant to which petitioner Zeiss was required to make regular payments to Honda for the vehicle. Petitioner Zeiss had reached an agreement with Honda affording her an extension of time until August 20, 2022 to make a payment before Honda would initiate repossession proceedings, because she did fall behind on payments prior to July 29 of 2022. The agreement between petitioner Zeiss and Honda was memorialized in a letter from Honda. Ms. Zeiss did run back into the house and grab the letter from Honda and woke petitioner Henley, her mother, to bring that out and show the individuals repossessing the vehicle. Both the petitioner, Ms. Zeiss, called the Depew Police Department for assistance, and the individuals repossessing the vehicle called the police as well, unbeknownst to the petitioner. What eventually happened was Respondent Utz arrived on the scene, that's Officer Utz, as well as Lieutenant Todd Pike. And essentially what occurred here was, a conversation between all these individuals where the petitioner, Ms. Zeiss, demonstrated that she had legal claim to the vehicle. Okay. The individuals attempting to repossess the vehicle could not demonstrate they had a legal claim. And essentially what the officers told her was that, quote, the individuals taking the vehicle were, quote, doing their job, end quote, that the vehicle in question was, quote, their car as of right now, end quote, and that Ms. Zeiss should, quote, take it up with Honda, end quote. Officers Utz and Pike allowed the persons who had arrived with the flatbed truck to take petitioner Zeiss's vehicle without legal authority. Petitioner Zeiss was formally charged with obstructing government administration in the second degree in violation of Penal Law Section 195.05. Ms. Zeiss was compelled to appear at numerous court dates between July 29, 2022 and October 22, 2022, when the criminal charges against her were dismissed. The criminal charges were dismissed in their entirety by Depew Village Justice Kathleen M. McDonald. On July 29, 2022, after petitioner Zeiss returned to her home, her mother, Ms. Henley, went to the Depew Police Department and filed a complaint. On July 29th to the 30th of 2022, Ms. Henley corresponded via text with Depew Police Captain W. Kerr, I believe that is William Kerr, who advised that he was investigating her complaint, and Ms. Henley did not receive any further contact from Captain Kerr after July 30th, 2022. Now, there's a range of issues that come up out of this incident. Number one, there's a motion in order to show cause coming up on November 21st of 2023 in front of Michael Siragusa to address this issue, but I'm going to point out some issues. Number one, these officers showed up and immediately took the side of the individuals loading this vehicle onto a flatbed. They had information in front of them showing that the owner of the vehicle still had legal title to the vehicle. They show up acting as if they work for Honda Motor Car Corporation. That's issue number one. Who pays for the salaries of these individuals? Mr. Utz, according to See-Through NY, he makes almost $86,000 a year. Mr. Pike, almost $115,000. And then, of course, Mr. Kerr, the most senior, almost $150,000 a year. What's going on now is this self-investigation, apparently, that's turned into a filing of claim regarding false arrest and malicious prosecution. And this all turns into a huge expense for the taxpayers, because these officers can't seem to arrive on scene and act in a composed professional manner. The town has retained the Sugarman Law Firm to essentially try to bounce this issue out of court on a technicality, essentially saying that Ms. Zeiss did not file in a timely manner. Well, she had to wait for this case to mature to have the charges bounced out because they are obviously insufficient on their face. So we have all these costs that are arising for taxpayers where private attorneys are filed My question to the board would be, why not just let this case be decided on the merits? If the village is so confident that officers acted correctly. And then the other thing I'll point out is between this incident, the one that my colleague pointed out, when the village loses these cases, it costs the taxpayers a lot of money. And I heard earlier in this meeting that this village board is all about saving money. So what are we going to do to bring the Village of Depew Police in line here so that they're not generating all these claims in court that are going to cost the taxpayers all this money? Those are the questions I think we have, and I'm happy to receive any answers the board may have.
I gave you a little bit more than 5 minutes.
Thank you.
You've been at about 8 minutes. So.
Gotcha. Any responses to this? I mean, I think
So
it's a
just-
very important issue.
I appreciate you bringing it up in this context. Because we have counsel who's not here, we cannot comment on pending litigation. We do have a right to a defense to protect the taxpayer. That motion that is on is because they filed it untimely. They started with the motion. That's how we got it in, sent it to our insurance company, which is the normal procedure. But while it's pending, we can't comment on it. We do appreciate you raising it in this context, though.
Is there anything that the village board will do to try to mitigate these types of issues in the future?
I think we're always looking to make the village as good as it can be, and you've all raised very important issues that we will address.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Putting your steps in today, Paul.
Yes. Paul Sprotter, 58 Argus. I won't take 5 or 8.
Just pull that mic. There you go.
Okay. Couple questions I got back to the e-bikes. Are they going to be required to have some type of registration, being a license or insurance for liability?
I don't believe through our law, if New York State requires that, it would still be a requirement, but I don't think we can make someone do that for an e-bike. I don't think we put that in, nor could we.
Okay, I asked that because it's a motorized vehicle. You know they're electric rather than gas. I just want the village to be liable for if any injury or catastrophe happens. So I am asking it. Other thing I want to bring up is during our Fall Fest, I don't know, I'm sure you are aware of it, but the firemen here, that's off of Terrace Boulevard, I don't know what you call it, but they had their chicken barbecue cookout on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just want to make sure you're aware.
So everybody else had things on the 14th.
Okay,
too,
yeah,
Paul.
okay.
You know,
We
And you
advertised
mentioned-
both here.
Pardon?
We advertised both of them.
they had flyers
Okay.
at theirs, and we had flyers directing them back.
yeah.
We'll take care of that, Paul.
Okay. You mentioned, Regina, you mentioned the rents on that pavilion. I think there's 2 different areas that are for, do you know what the dollar amount is? And do the residents get a break, or is it just a block,
Taxpayers only.
Yeah.
taxpayers only of Depew?
Yep.
Okay, that's
And
all.
there's different rates depending upon whether you're doing a partial day or a full day, whether you're doing a weekday or a weekend.
Okay.
Right.
Just wanted to ask. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, seeing that there's none, we're going to move to claims and accounts before we head out for executive session.
Honorable Mayor and Board of Trustees, the claims and accounts have been audited by the Finance Committee and are approved for payment as follows.
$375,550.34, general fund. $2,577, community development. 0, sewer fund. Capital projects, $458,696.67, for a total of $836,826.0.
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried. I'll entertain a motion for executive session.
Honorable Mayor, Board of Trustees, I make a motion that we go into executive session for a pending litigation and employment matter at 8:05 PM.
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Marked at 8:05. 8:08?
Technically, yes.
8:08. Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion, a resolution to bring us out of executive session.
Honorable Mayor and Board of Trustees, I make a motion that we come out of executive session at 9:53 PM. No decisions were made.
8:53.
Actually, 8:57.
8:50. What?
That clock's wrong.
I apologize.
I'll get a new.
8:57.
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried. And finally, tonight, we'll do the adjournment.
Honorable Mayor and Board of Trustees, I move that we adjourn tonight's meeting while remembering Camille Brandon, wife of Bob Brandon, and continued prayers for recovery for Trustee Hammernick.
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is ended. I've got 8:58.
Aladrone.